How's it going, guys? The Las Vegas Raiders pretty much continue to dominate the preseason, especially in their latest win in a 34-7 routing of the Los Angeles Rams, and it was a good game. The Raiders had a lot of guys that stood out and fizzed out. Again, yes, because you guys know the drill at this point. Today we're doing another edition of our Standouts and Fizzouts. Everybody's got their own edition, winners and losers, risers and fallers. Ours is Standouts because players that stood out, and Fizzouts because pop. We think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it needs to replace all water. Just straight up replace it. Please replace it. But overall, the Raiders got business done in a lot of different ways versus the Rams. And quite honestly, I think that they are, there's a couple of players that really did solidify themselves on the 53, or at least go a long way towards doing so. So today we're going to get started with it. We're not going to waste any more time. I think today it all starts with Jimmy Garoppolo. So Jimmy Garoppolo, that first team offense, he was pretty much only given one drive, I think. 4 of 4, 39 yards, and then, the Raiders just able to punch it in with Brandon Bolden. It was a thing of beauty because this offensive line looked like it was ready to go. Jimmy G and company were throwing it long. It was a fantastic outing for that first team Raiders offense, which we'll get into. But Jimmy G, he seemed to have control of the offense. He seemed to put the ball where it needed to go. And yes, it was just a really good start for Jimmy G to have his Raider debut and all of that wonderful stuff. Aiden O'Connell. I'm getting more and more convinced that the Las Vegas Raiders have something special in Aiden O'Connell. So overall in the night, he was 11 of 18 for 163 yards with 2 touchdowns, no picks. In comparison, right now, Brian Hoyer, the number 2, will make a video about this, but right now, the current number 2 quarterback for the Raiders, Brian Hoyer, 12 of 22, 144 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. So completely different plays from both of the potential backup quarterbacks for the Raiders. But overall, Aiden O'Connell, he had control of this offense. He was accurate with his deep balls. He did not put the ball in harm's way. He really honestly showed a little bit of bravado, if you will, on that last touchdown pass to Christian Wilkerson there. But overall, this was a fantastic outing by a guy like Aiden O'Connell, who really has nothing to lose at this point. You love to see it, especially with and really what he's going to do with the rest of the preseason. Again, first team offense, hey, marching down there, doing your things. The defense, it wasn't bad. I'll give guys like Robert Spillane and all them a lot of credit, but the Rams were, driving in a lot of different scenarios. Overall, it was also, I guess you could say, the standouts for the Raiders defense was, the first team defense. They got some, they were flying around making plays as well. You could definitely make that argument. But overall, I was really impressed with the offense. Also impressed with Isaiah Palamau, had that pick 6, which, to be fair, all he had to kind of do was just stand there, but he also made a nice break on that Davis Allen first catch of the game, and honestly, he was all over the football field. I expect him to be continue to be a big part of this Raiders defense. So, and that's exactly what you wanted him for. Zamir White, 10 carries, 40 yards. Just any chance he gets the ball, he just continues to be showing us that he could be that number 1 running back for the Raiders, potentially. Christian Wilkerson caught that touchdown late in the game. Also finished the night 5 catches, 54 yards, and like I said, he was a guy that really did show a lot of different things in terms of catching the ball, having that rapport with Aiden O'Connell. You love to see it as well. DeAndre Carter, this man is a human highlight reel. This guy just continues to impress me. I think he's going to get a lot more run as the season goes on. He was really solid for the Chargers last year, but he had a catch for 9 yards. He also had an end around, I believe, but punts and kickoff returns. This guy was pretty solid as well. So had a 31-yard punt return there earlier in the game. So honestly, it's definitely going to be a battle between guys like Trey Tucker and DeAndre Carter, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Malcolm Kuntz, definitely on this list. When he was in, that man was getting to the quarterback. Now, let's be real here. Stetson Bennett was getting the ball out pretty quickly. He had himself overall a pretty effective night, but Malcolm Kuntz, make no mistake about it, was getting in the backfield. He was making plays, and you overall love to see it. Philip Dorsett was also a guy here that really did show that early rapport with a guy like Brian Hoyer, but overall Dorsett finished the night with 4 catches for 76 yards, and Aiden O'Connell for that matter had a rapport with both of them. But this wide receiver room is going to be really competitive throughout the rest of the preseason, and really the Raiders, though, this is the way I see it going. You have 5 receivers, maybe 6, obviously Devontae Adams, and then the rest of this probably going to go in some shape or manner with the following. It's going to be, like we said, Devontae Adams. It's going to be Jacoby Myers. It's going to be Hunter Renfrow. After that, it's kind of wide open. I think Keelan Cole makes it. I think Philip Dorsett makes it. That's 6. And then after that, I mean, Trey Tucker, 7, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm not great at math. So overall, you're going to have 5 or 6 receivers that make it, or at least some in some capacity make the practice squad. Also, Cam Sims had a really good game out there as well. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's a good problem to have, but I mean, there's definitely getting a little crowded along the Raiders wide receiving room. Drake Thomas, this dude flies around, makes plays. I mean, he had that really nice stick on that would have been a tackle for loss had Nesta Jade Silvera not been holding. We'll get into that a little bit, but excuse me. But overall, Drake Thomas leading the team in tackles with 10. I have been saying it from the very beginning. We needed to see more of Drake Thomas. We got to see him. He was an absolute stud. Did not disappoint. Amari Burney made that play on special teams. Also made a couple of plays there on defense for the Raiders. I really think that he needs to get a lot more run. Finished the night with 4 tackles in total. Excuse me. But overall, this is a very promising 1-2 punch between Drake Thomas and Amari Burney. Amik Robertson, I know he had that really long catch on him late in the game, but he did have a nice pass breakup early in the game. A guy that really does continue to show that he belongs on the roster. Trey Tucker, I was going to put Trey Tucker on the Fizzouts list, and I did. I'll get into that in a second too. But overall, Trey Tucker bounced back from a rough first half, like dropping that touchdown pass, and then also dropping, I think, 1 or 2 other passes. But overall, finished the night, 3 catches, 66 yards, made a really nice catch there late in the game, basically where he contorted his body. Fantastic. Also fantastic in returning punts and kickoffs. Well, the kickoffs not so much, 1 for 14 yards, but punts, 4 punt returns for 66 yards. He is speedy. He's just nasty. And of course, the minute that we go out and make jokes about how he's the next Clifford Franklin from the movie Replacements, and go out and doing stuff, then he catches a 40-yard pass. Great. Thank you. I know. But Cam Sims had that really nice touchdown there from Aiden O'Connell, the first one from Aiden O'Connell there. I mean, just 6'5" guy. Also great awareness by Aiden O'Connell. Just throw it up here, tall guy, let him make a play. You love to see it. Curtis Bolton is a heat-seeking missile for this Raiders defense. I think he can do a lot of different things for your team, especially if you put him in the right position. Keelan Cole, the veteran wide receiver, he's definitely making this squad too. Like I said, this wide receiver room for the Raiders is at least 6 or 7 deep. Keelan Cole, 5 catches, 60 yards after he had a really good performance against the 49ers too. Fizzouts. Trey Tucker catching. Like, I know he redeemed himself, and I know we made the meme and we had our kind of got with our foot caught in our mouth a little bit. But overall, it was kind of a situation where it was like, fool me once, shame on me, because he, was going out there and dropping passes. And in the words of Michael Scott,
fool me once, strike 1. But fool me twice, strike 3.
Yeah. And Justin Herron was another fizz out, even though Trey Tucker got it all figured out. We're going to leave him alone. Justin Herron had that holding call, allowed a sack last week against the 49ers. And it's just, I don't know, this tackle room seems to be a little bit competitive. Nesta Jade Silvera holding. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing, because this is exactly what he was supposed to do on this play. As a defensive lineman, as an interior nose tackle in that specific scheme, you are designed to take up as many blockers as possible. When I was playing college ball, I was a D-end. We would have guys that would hold for us on the D-line, on the interior, that would do it for us because, hey, it would free us up. We would get sacks. And no ref is usually going to call that. And Nesta Jade Silvera, I'm sorry, buddy. You definitely got a little bit shafted there. I don't think that he necessarily should have been called for that, because Drake Thomas also made a great play on the ball carrier. But overall, it is what it is. I love Nesta Jade Silvera. I don't think it's going to bug him at all. George Tarlis got really sucked in onto that Stetson Bennett touchdown run, especially if you're a D end that there's a lot of competition in. There is no way that you can mess up on it. Again, it is what it is. Dalton Wagner had that false start penalty there in the red zone late in the game, even though, I mean, Aiden O'Connell bailed him out. It is what it is. But overall, I thought that there was a very good performance by the offensive lines and the defensive lines for the Raiders. I understand that at the end of the day, there was pressure. There was things that, did make it a little left to be desired. But, hey, this was a pretty good squad overall. I think this is the only, it was only Kyer Thomas that had that, also, fizz out. Yes, Brian Hoyer, I apologize. Mentioned him early, 12 of 22, 144 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. And you had that pick 6. Ooh, it's not looking good because Aiden O'Connell's a stud. Overall, I want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. Oh, yeah, David Ibuka Ogoa. I believe that's how you say it. Anyway, got the only sack there for the Raiders on the night. It is what it is there. But overall, hey, really good performance by the Raiders to continue to put it together in their preseason. It is what it is. But that is it. That is our latest edition of Standouts and Fizzouts for the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Rams preseason game week 2. Let us know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Also, hey, in the comment section down below, it's Fizzouts because pop. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We think it needs to replace all water. Let us know what you guys drink in the comment section down below. Whether it's Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, that great value Diet Dr. Thunder, whatever it is, let us know what you drink in the comment section down below. And let us know what you guys think about our latest edition of Standouts and Fizzouts for the Las Vegas Raiders.